Rob here at Detrailer.com, and today you're going to be taking a look at the Westin Sure-Grip running boards on our 2015 Chevrolet Colorado. Now here we have them in black, but they are available in three different colors. The black, there's going to be a Brite anodized aluminum, as well as a brushed aluminum. So you want to pick up whichever color you think is going to complement your truck the best. But running boards are going to serve two purposes. They're going to make it easier for us to get in and out of our truck, but they're also going to give it a stylish look. And I think our Westins do a really good job of that because they have a really wide platform, so functionally they work great. But if we step back and take a wider look, it really gives our truck a clean, nice, finished look to it. What I really like about these is the tread on here. Most running boards are just going to have a pad or a step, usually it's molded plastic, and it's going to have one at each entry point. Well, on our Westins, we're going to have this nice rubber strip that has a really good grip to it compared to that plastic, but it's going to run the entire length of the board. So even if we need to get in at a weird angle or in a weird spot on our door, we're not going to have to fight trying to find that step. As you can see, we got a really wide step here. So whether we're getting in our truck or getting out, we can make sure that we have a secure footing. There are channels inside the tread here that's going to make it easy for water to divert out of the way, and the fact that it's rubber is going to make sure we have that secure grip. Now Westin does have an optional light kit that we can mount to the outside of our running boards. This is a really nice custom look to it, so whenever we open our doors, they'll illuminate, not only looking nice, but giving us a safe, secure way so we know where we're stepping. Now that is sold separately, and you can find it here at Detrailer.com. Now our boards are going to be made out of aluminum. So they are going to be rust proof, which is really nice, but it's also going to help out when it comes to the installation because our boards are rather long, so we have to pick them up to put them in place. But since they're aluminum, they're going to be a little bit lighter. But as far as the installation goes, it is an extremely straightforward process. You're not going to need any special tools, and you can actually just do it right in your driveway. In fact, let's go ahead and put these on together. To begin our installation, we're going to start on the passenger side. Now we're going to start at the very front of our passenger door, but we need to move in underneath the truck, but on the outside of the frame. So if we come in between the body and the outside of the frame in this general area, all the way towards the front, we're going to find a few holes and a few rubber plugs. We need to pull those rubber plugs out. You can take a screwdriver, a pick, or pretty much anything you have available just to pop those out. We'll have one on the inside of the frame next to this small hole and one on the bottom side of the frame next to a small hole. And we need to move back, going along the outside of the body here. We're going to find another set that's just like this, and we want to pull those plugs out as well. So we're going to have the same combination, just a few inches behind the front ones. We want to pull those plugs out, and we're going to move down the frame. We'll see another set. We're not going to mess with these ones. We're going to move all the way to the back, at the back of the cab, and we're going to pull these plugs out. I want to grab the U-nuts out of our kit, and you'll notice it's going to have a larger section sticking out. That's got threads in it. It's going to be a nut so we can put it inside the frame. We're going to make sure that larger section is facing up so it's on the inside of the frame. We'll take the opening, slide it over the large hole, and we're just going to push it on until it engages and kind of lines up with that smaller hole next to the big one. And once you have it in place, the center will kind of hold it in there so you'll know it's fully in there. Now you want to go back, and we're going to do that for all the small holes that we took all those plugs out of, using the large one to get it in place. Now we can grab our brackets out of our kit, and we're going to have two different brackets, and there'll be three of each kind. You want to make sure you grab the correct ones. This section is going to go on the inside of the frame. This will catch that bottom U-nut that we put in place, and then you'll notice this large tab here with two oval holes. Those need to be facing towards the rear of the truck, so when we put them in place from the passenger side, they're going to sit this general position so we know this is the right bracket. But if we lift it up, we'll see that it's going to line up with our U-nuts. We're going to use the hardware in our kit to attach everything. Grab one of the hex bolts out of our kit, I follow it up with a split lock washer, and then finally a flat washer after that. I'm just going to loosely hold it up, and then for now I'm just going to run this in by hand to where it's pretty snug, but it can still move around a little bit. And with that one bolt in place, I don't have to worry about the bracket falling anymore. But we'll take that same combination of hardware and we'll secure the second location on our bracket. And once we have this one in place, we're going to repeat that same process for the other two going back on the back of our truck. It's going to use the same combination of hardware and the same style brackets. At this point, we can get our board prepared. We're going to want to grab it, flip it over so that the face is facing down, and we can get to the back side. Now, if we look at the back, and we look at the bottom here, we're going to have 3 channels that are in the bottom here. We want to grab the square head bolts. We're going to slide them into that channel. We'll put a total of 3 in the channel that's closest to the end of the board. And then we'll take another 3 of the square head bolts, and we're going to come to the furthest channel that's going to be closest to the truck body here. Now these don't really need to be in any certain position, but I like to get them close to where they're going to land. These are going to line up with the brackets that we mounted on our truck. So we know that one is going to be pretty close to the end, one somewhat towards the middle, and one on the other end. Then we can grab the large plastic piece. It's going to have a little rubber weather stripping on it. If we look at the thicker part, also the shorter end here, this is going to need to fit onto the end of our running board. If we come to the end of the rail here, we'll find a very small channel, and that's going to line up with that little mark. So what we want to do is we want to take our piece, and with the flat section facing down towards the bolts, I want to slide the end of it into that channel, and then we're going to slide the entire piece onto the board until it's all the way on there. You should just be able to slide it on. Make sure there's nothing stuck in the track, obviously, but once we get it on, we just push it all the way on until it's pretty close to where the end is going to meet that channel. Now what I like to do is I like to lay my board pretty close to the truck and then get the bolts pretty close and lined up to where they're going to match up. It's just a little bit less work we're going to have to do trying to hold everything. We want to take our board, we'll lift it up, and we're going to rest it right on top of the brackets so that the bolts come down through. But you want to go through and make sure that they go onto each bracket. So you may need to slightly lift up, get the bolts to go into the brackets and come down through them, and then work your way down as you go. Now when we go to secure our boards, we want to put a flat washer in place. We'll follow it up with a split lock washer. And then finally, we'll secure it down with a hex nut. Now right now, you just want to get all the hardware onto the bolts, just hand tight, just so we know that the board is fully supported, and then we can go back and tighten everything up once we make all of our adjustments to make sure our board is square. Now each one of the brackets is going to get the same combination of hardware, so we'll put those in place for the middle and the rear as well. Now that we have our board loosely installed, you can see we got a little bit of a gap here to hang over the back, but that's the nice thing since they're still loose. We're able to adjust our board by sliding it either forward or backward to get it to sit where we want. So you want to get it adjusted how you want, and then we can go back and tighten everything up. Now when we go to tighten everything up, we want to tighten up the brackets that are on the frame first. So we'll use a 13mm socket and we'll tighten up all the bolts. And then once you make sure your boards are still in the position you want them, we can come back and tighten up the nuts that are coming down through the bottom of the board. Now you can either use a 13mm socket or a 1/2" socket to tighten these up. Now that our boards are all tight and fixed in place, if we look at this rubber strip here, we can see that it's kind of bending and folding in awkward angles. What I like to do is I like to come underneath the running board and just push it out. That way it'll sit more uniformly and it'll hide some of the stuff underneath. And we know that it's not going to be all bunched up. Just work our way across, folding it out, and it'll sit better against the body of the truck. But with this side done, we can go and repeat that same process over on the driver's side because it's going to use the same style brackets and hardware combination to get put in place. But again, I'm Rob here at Detrailer.com, and that'll finish up your look at the Westin Sure-Grip running boards on our 2015 Chevrolet Colorado.